What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another week of Tier List Tuesday. Today, we're going over the Pokemon Go Community Day Shinies. So as of right now, there have been 22 Community Days, 21 involving new shiny forms, one Community Day, which I believe was December or January of last year, a Community Day that included all the previous Community Day Pokemon, so it was like a surplus day. I'm not going to include that because obviously that one wins because that has the most unique Pokemon. Chimchar was released for November, but we are not going to rate Chimchar because I do not have it. And if I don't have it, it doesn't count. That's how I view it. The second reason I'm really excited about this video is I got a new mic. So I really hope the audio is much better. Let me know. I think it's much better than the headset I had. But let me know in the comments down below if you like this better. There are two major ways I'm going to rank these Pokemon. One is based on how it looks. That is the most important. The second one is the move that it learned on the Community Day. This isn't a huge deal, but for some of them, this is important because it kind of changes the way that Pokemon is actually used and applicable. So it can be a boost for some Pokemon. I'm going to pick them in the order they were released. So the first Pokemon that we had as a Community Day was Pikachu. While Pikachu doesn't look much different than regular Pikachu, it's just a little darker. The move it had was Surf. And this is a throwback to the old games when you can actually get a Pikachu that could no Surf. And that in and of itself is the reason why it's an A tier Pokemon, because an electric Pokemon that has nothing to do with water except kill it can no Surf. Also, Pikachu is very, very small. The fact that you could hop on a Pikachu and it could pull you, kind of amazing. The second Community Day we had was Dratini, and this one was hype because you wanted Dragonites. Dragonites were OP at the time. They're still really strong, but they used to be the bread and butter best Pokemon, arguably best Pokemon. Dratini is like a pinkish purple, really cool coloring, and then when it fully evolved, it becomes a green Dragonite, which is really unique and very different from the original one. I honestly love this coloring of it. I like it better than the original. I think it's an S tier coloring. I think it's nice, simple, but it's like a sleek, elegant style, and I'm a huge fan of that. Next, Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur came out in March of 2018. There's really nothing too crazy about it. It came out with Frenzy Plant, which was a really strong grass move, but there's nothing about this Bulbasaur that makes me in awe over it. As a Venusaur, it is a much different coloring because also the bulb can change. Right now, Bulbasaur is just too basic for that to actually happen. So Bulbasaur would be, I would say, B tier Pokemon. In April, we had Mareep, arguably my favorite. The pinkish purple coloring, it's a little darker than Dratini's. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That's it. It's just a great looking Pokemon. After Mareep, we had Charmander. So it's kind of cool how they bounce between the different generations. Obviously, it's not a big bounce, but just to go, Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Pikachu, Dratini, Bulbasaur, Mareep, then to a Charmander, it's cool that, they didn't just go linear with Gen 1 starters, Gen 2, they kind of bounced around a little bit. I was a fan of that. Kept everyone on the toad and kind of trying to guess what the next one would be. We have Charmander. Charmander is very, very shiny, and as it fully evolved form, it becomes a black Charizard. Super sick. I don't know where to rank this one. Hey, I'm going to keep it at A tier right now, and we'll see how the rest of the list shakes out, because it could move, because there are some more studs on this. You can just look. If you just look down here, there are some studs down here. In June, this was arguably, again, the best Community Day for Larvitar. Larvitar, that new Smackdown as it fully evolved form, and Tyranitar, again, total beast, whether it's dark or using Smackdown as a move. Smackdown or Bite, either way, total boss. I am not a huge fan of the way it looks, though. There's really nothing different about it as it evolves. Nothing changes. So as a move, it's awesome, but honestly, not a huge fan of where it currently sits in the way it looks. The next one released was Shiny Squirtle. This one did not have the Squirtle Squad glasses, though, so it's not nearly as awesome. There's really nothing too grand about this shiny. The whole evolution line, nothing really drastically changes. So for me, I did not seek out this one beyond the Community Day, unless obviously it came with the glasses, which is just completely rare. And unless you're trainer tips, you're never going to get that anyway, so it doesn't matter. At the end of summer, Eevee came out. Shiny Eevee is easily an S tier based on how many evolutions it actually has. Currently in the game, it has 7 evolutions. Think about all those possibilities for shinies, especially now that it even has Flower Crown Eevee, which can also be shiny. So you have just the combinations of different evolutions is out the wazoo, and that honestly deserves to be the S tier Pokemon. That is honestly the most dynamic of any of the Pokemon that are on this list. Creeping back into Gen 2, we have Chikorita, which is my favorite Gen 2 starter. I'm a big grass guy. Always liked the grass starters. Chikorita, similar to the other starter Pokemon. I like it. For me, it's kind of like a fall Chikorita. The normal Chikorita is green, spring, summertime, but this one has a little tint of brown, maybe even a little gold. And I think that has a feeling of fall. Fall is my favorite season. So for me, that is an A tier. It also had Frenzy Plant, which is an awesome move, and definitely made this whole evolution line better and more usable. Didn't make it dynamic or great, but definitely made it usable. The last 2 Pokemon before the major Community Day event, the Community Day that encompassed all of these Pokemon I listed, was Beldum and Cyndaquil. Beldum and Cyndaquil. Beldum involves all the way to Metagross and this new Meteor Mash, which was a great move in-game, but similar to some other Pokemon, the coloring did not change enough for me to actually be inspired to get it. The Metagross coloring, though, is really cool, which is why it will be a B-tier Pokemon. It's very dark and kind of the opposite of what normal Metagross is. Also, knowing Meteor Mash is a huge plus. And the last one, again, is Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil goes all the way to Typhlosion, which is a bad boy. When you look at just by the looks of a Pokemon, Typhlosion looks like it can just beat you up in a heartbeat, and it also has fire moves, so you're instantly dead regardless. But that's a C tier Pokemon. It doesn't look much different than the regular one. It looks like you put a little transition lens over it, or you have really cheap sunglasses and you put those on and looked at. That's the only difference it is. And all the way through the line, it doesn't change. You know, Charmander has the same kind of glow, but Charizard looks awesome. And I don't see that when I look at Cyndaquil, if I'm comparing the 2 fire Pokemon that are both starters that are on this list. Then kicking off the new year, we went with Totodile, which is right here, Swinub, and then Trico. Totodile is arguably the most popular Gen 2 starter, even though all of them are pretty popular. Swinub was awesome because it was an ice type, and it had Ancient Power, which was the first in-game move that would provide stat buff that was available in Community Day. That was a lot to say right there. But that Pokemon was awesome, especially with the new raid bosses that were coming out. Mamoswine was a total tank. And lastly, Trico. Trico arguably has the most different coloring from the original typing with the aqua and the red tail. So it's a great kick right there. So let's start ranking them. Totodile, I would say, is a C tier Pokemon. I kind of like the off blue. I don't really know what color that is. It's like a greenish blue. But that's all it is. Swinub is really just tinted a little bit, but with it being the first Pokemon that's not a starter or an absolute tank rare, and it's also the first ice type Pokemon, I'm going to put it at a B tier. Also, the move Ancient Power kind of puts it there. Honestly, I might reconsider that one because Ancient Power, adding that, especially in the PvP realm, was huge. Totally changed the way the cups ran, because if you had a Pokemon like that and you were able to get that stat buff, that totally changes it. And lastly is Trico with the totally different color scheme. I love it. Super creative. Kind of makes it like a jungle frog type animal, and so instead of it being in the woods, it kind of goes from trees, but instead of being in a normal in an North America type woods, it goes to a South America's jungle woods, which is sick. After those Pokemon went through, we went back to having a pseudo legendary in Bagon line. Bagon fully evolves into Salamence. This is another Pokemon similar to Dratini that is just such a boss when it is fully evolved. Salamence, It knew Outrage, which was pretty good, especially with Salman just being so tanky. That is definitely an A tier Pokemon. The green all the way through the line totally counteracts the blue that is the typical Bagon evolutionary line. Also, the middle one just looks bad regardless, so it is what it is. Next, you have Torchic, which fully evolves into Blaziken. Similar to the Cyndaquil, where it just has a little bit of tone on it. This one pops a little more. It kind of would look awesome in like a rustic area, which if you look on my Instagram, there's a photo of that up right now. But it kind of looks more realistic than what Cyndaquil looks like, and I think that's a big thing. In the imaginary world where Pokemon actually exist, this one is one I would actually want. It kind of resembles an actual chick, versus this one just represents you have cheap sunglasses on and you're looking at a Pokemon. And the last of this line of 3 is Slakoth. Slakoth might be the weirdest Pokemon on this list because it's a sloth. It's a pink sloth. If you look in game, like in the actual normal games, it can only attack every other turn. This is just arguably one of the weirdest Pokemon ever, but it's true to nature. It actually acts like a sloth. That's an A tier to me. I love the coloring of it. I think it pops, first of all, because Slakoth is normally a whitish tan Pokemon, and with it being pink, it's just kind of obnoxious, and I think that's kind of awesome. It kind of reminds me of the Trico and the Mareep, where it pops. That's a shiny. You can scroll through your inventory Pokemon real quick, and that you will see that, and you will know exactly which Pokemon that is. We are down to the last 4 Community Day shinies, and we have 2 starters and 2 non-starter Pokemon. Mudkip, which is a water Pokemon that evolves into Swampert, which is water ground, was an awesome shiny Pokemon. It's this little water fish monster thing that's pink and has these adorable orange flaps, and it grows up to this, and it evolves up to Swampert, which is water ground. It is huge, and it's pink. Whoever thought of that's a genius. It's a great color scheme. The orange pops just enough. It's just so freaking cute. I'm not going to lie. Then we have Ralts. This came out in August, and I know it was August because I was in Peru, and I tried to get Ralts, but I was only able to be on Wi-Fi, and it was very difficult to get on Wi-Fi when you're not from that country because I didn't have the internet service of that country. So I had to go to a Starbucks, and I sat in the Starbucks while my fiance, she had to run to a store or something. So I was like, I will sit here so I can try to get some Ralts. But the Pokestop, there was only one Pokestop, and I can only get like a third of the range of it. So I had to like walk back in to eventually to keep the Wi-Fi going. It was honestly extremely difficult just to get a Ralts, and I think I got like 2. But male and female Ralts evolve into different Pokemon. Sadly, I did not get that though. So if anyone has a Ralts that they want to give me, let me know. The blue, I think it looks better in the blue. It provides enough of a pop of a color, enough of a splash of a pretty simple Pokemon overall. Again, it reminds me of the Mudkip, the Slakoth Maries, where if you scroll through quickly, you will see that because it is that light blue that really does pop. It's not like Beldum or Squirtle. They're blues that kind of stay mellow. That's one that pops. And the last 2 Community Day Pokemon we had, which are the most recent 2 we've had, which is Turtwig and Trapinch. Turtwig, I think that's a C tier Pokemon. I don't know. Maybe it's this color because it's kind of similar to Totodile's, and I maybe don't like that color. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. It just doesn't get much better when it evolves. I also may be biased because I have 100% Turtwig that's not shiny, so maybe I like that one more. And lastly is Trapinch, and we just had this Community Day a week ago. Trapinch is sick. Trapinch evolves into Flygon, which is an awesome Pokemon. How it goes from Trapinch to all the way to Flygon, it makes no sense to me. They do not look alike. None of those 3 Pokemon really look that alike. I guess Vibrana looks a little bit like Flygon, but all in all, Trapinch is a B tier Pokemon. This is what we got. So I have all 21 of them ranked, and I'm going to reorganize them real quick. And this is the list closest to the letters, meaning that is the highest rank. So Mareep is easily my favorite of the Community Day Pokemon. I just love the pink little sheep. I just think it's one of the cutest things ever. But this is the list. I'm going to put this link in the description down below so you can also post yours and you compare it to mine. Comment how wrong I am. I don't think I'm wrong. There are a few things I understand if people like, but for me, this is the most perfect list that there is as of right now. So let me know if I messed up at all. Also, let me know the audio of this thing. This is my first time using it. Either way, I'm out.